We heard Trump's unhappy, UK sets cost of strong US-NATO ties. Britain's Defence Committee has called for return to the mid-1990s level of spending on national defence and security. In its report Beyond 2%, a preliminary report on the modernizing defense program, the lawmakers indicated that anything less than 3% of the GDP allocated for military spending is not an option for Britain. Defense spending is an area where a strong message needs to be sent to our allies and adversaries alike. The government has consistently talked about increasing the UK's commitment to NATO after our departure from the European Union. An increased commitment, in the face of new and intensified threats, means that further investment is essential. Where percentage of GDP for defense is concerned, our mantra must be, we need 3, to keep us free. Anything less is simply rhetoric which endangers us and our allies, said Right Honourable Dr. Julian Lewis, Defence Committee Chairman. Copyright AFP 2018, Wojtek Radwanski. U.S. soldiers are pictured prior the beginning of the official welcoming ceremony of NATO troops in Orange, Poland, on April 13, 2017. British politicians looked at UK's impact on NATO and the UK-US military-to-military relationship. They concluded that in order for Britain to maintain its leadership position in NATO and uphold prolific defence relations with the US, more investment in armed forces is inevitable. The report also made a note of the criticism voiced by the US regarding NATO members' unwillingness to share the financial burden imposed by the alliance. Last year, the U.S. President Donald Trump has condemned chronic underpayments by NATO members and said that 2% of GDP is insufficient to close gaps in modernizing, readiness and the size of forces. Earlier this month, it was reported that Britain was under pressure from the officials in Washington to contribute more to NATO despite it already meeting the specified military spending target of 2% of GDP. Read more. NATO data estimated that, in 2017, only the U.S. allocated more than 3% of GDP on defense expenditure, followed by Greece 2.36, the UK 2.12, and Estonia 2.08. Other members are spending less than 2%, according to NATO figures. In 2017, an IFOP poll for Sputnik showed that 53% of Italians, 47% of Germans, and 35% of French do not want the defense expenditures to grow. Copyright Sputnik. Opinions of Europeans split on boosting military spending. In accordance with NATO rules, Britain seeks to boost its defence spending in line with the position of the Defence Minister Gavin Williamson, who has hailed the importance of NATO for the country in the light of its exit from the European Union and the need to boost relations with North America partners. The Defence Committee reports also comes ahead of the next NATO summit held on 11 to 12 July in Brussels.